on, Mayor.
Adequate notice of the October 27th, 2016 meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and the agenda of the meeting on the bulletin board in the Municipal Building, 1000 Route 10, Township of Hanover, by hand delivering, mailing, or faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: Morris County's Daily Record, Star Ledger, Hanover Eagle, and by filing same with the Township Clerk. Have a roll call.
Roll call. Committeeman Gallagher.
Here.
Committeeman Faramasca.
Here.
Committeeman Bruno.
Here.
Committeeman Capola.
Here.
And Mayor Francioli.
Here.
5 members in attendance, sir.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, gentlemen, please rise and join me in a pledge of allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, at this point, motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. If anyone would like to address the Township Committee at this time, they could do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record.
Move to close.
Seeing none,
Second.
hearing none. Motion to close? Mr. Administrator.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We have one letter to read into the record. It is dated October the 14th. It was received on my office on October 17th, and it's addressed to the Court Administrator, Lisa Hanover, and says, "Dear Lisa, please accept this letter as my formal resignation from my role as Violations Clerk for the Township of Hanover, East Hanover. My last day will be Friday, October 28th, or Monday, October 31st, as I would be happy to extend my 2 weeks to help out with night court that evening. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for the knowledge and experience I have gained by working here. I'm very grateful for the time I have spent on your team and the professional relationships I've built. It's been a pleasure working for you, and I hope our paths will cross again in the future. Sincerely, Whitney J. DuBose." May we have a motion on accepting the letter of
So moved.
resignation? Motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
So accepted and approved. We continue, ladies and gentlemen, on departmental reports, and the following reports have been filed in my office. They include the report of the Chief of Police for all activities conducted by the Police Department during the month of September. We have 2 reports from the Township's Property Maintenance Officer dated October 17th and also October 27th. The Township's Superintendent of Public Works has submitted his reports on all activities conducted by his divisions during the month of September. The Township's CFO, as the Treasurer, has submitted his report on the collection of all budget revenues as of October 20th. And we also have a report from our construction official on all certificates of occupancy and building permits issued during the month of September. And the final report is the report of the Township Engineer on the status of all capital improvement projects. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the approval of Township Committee minutes, the regular minutes of October 13th, and the bid committee meeting of October 18th. May we have a motion on approval of vote?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Gallagher, seconded by Mr. Faramasca. All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the last meeting, the Township Committee, on the advice of council, tabled Land Use Ordinance number 28-2016, pending a resolution from our professional planner setting forth the reasons why the ordinance should be adopted, even though the planning board had stated that there were certain inconsistencies with the master plan. I'll just state for the record that at the end of the last meeting, or I'm sorry, during the time that this ordinance was being considered, the Township Committee closed the public hearing, so there is no public hearing this evening. We'll also state for the record that we did receive notification from the Morris County Division of Planning and Preservation that the ordinance was filed in accordance with the municipal land use law. We'll also note for the record that the ordinance did appear in full in the in the September 14th issue of the Daily Record with the notice of introduction. So at this time, before we proceed, we have the resolution of the Township's planner. It's a resolution of the Township Committee setting forth the reasons why it should adopt Land Use Ordinance number 28-2016, notwithstanding the Planning Board's opinion that Ordinance number 28-2016 is partially inconsistent with the Township's Planning Board. And I believe we should read this in full into the record. Whereas the Township Committee has introduced Ordinance number 28-2016, entitled An Ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, amending and supplementing Chapter 166 of the Code of the Township, entitled Land Use and Development Legislation, by amending the regulations governing the operation of gasoline stations and motor vehicle repair or maintenance establishments. And whereas Ordinance number 28-2016 would amend the regulations for gasoline stations and automotive repair establishments by permitting such uses in combination with a large-scale retail development in the DS, OBDS, and IB3 zones. And whereas pursuant to NJSA 40:55D-26A, the ordinance was forwarded by the Township Committee to the Planning Board for a report and recommendation. And whereas the Planning Board, pursuant to its letter to the Township Committee, dated September 27, 2016, stated that Ordinance 28-2016 is not fully consistent with the master plan, since 1, the land use plan element does not recommend gasoline stations and automotive repair as permitted uses in the DS and OBDS zones, and 2, although the land use plan recommends that motor vehicle service stations be permitted in large-scale retail developments in the IB3 zone, the plan specifically recommends that tire dealers not be permitted. And whereas the New Jersey Municipal Land Use Law at NJSA 40:55D-62A provides that the governing body, when adopting a zoning ordinance that is inconsistent with the master plan, shall set forth the reasons for so acting in a resolution, that it records such records in its minutes. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, County of Morris, that it gives the following reasons for adopting Ordinance 26-2016, notwithstanding the partial inconsistency of the ordinance with the land use element of the master plan. 1, on May 12, 2016, the Township of Hanover adopted Ordinance number 15-2016 to better regulate the land use impacts associated with gasoline stations and repair establishments. These regulations for gasoline stations and automotive service establishments are based primarily upon and designed to regulate traditional gasoline stations and repair establishments that are developed singly or with a convenience store or other small-scale retail uses. And 2, the current regulations for gasoline stations and automotive service establishments do not accommodate the current and widespread development practice that includes gasoline stations, automotive tire services, and similar uses in combination with and as part of some larger scale retail developments. And 3, the Planning Board, in its September 27, 2016 letter to the Township Committee, acknowledged that gasoline stations and automotive services can be accommodated in large-scale retail establishments in an acceptable manner, if properly designed. The board stated that the advantages of such arrangements include A, shared access, B, unified architectural design, and C, improved signage. These advantages address a number of the concerns upon which the current zoning regulations are based. And 4, the Planning Board, also in its September 27, 2016 letter, noted that it had recently approved a gasoline station and convenience store in the IB3 zone as part of a larger-scale retail development, demonstrating that such uses can be included within larger-scale developments in an acceptable manner. 5, gasoline service stations and automotive services are consistent with the larger-scale retail development recommended by the master plan and permitted in the DS, OBDS, and IB3 zone districts, and are compatible with the overall commercial and commuter-driven nature of the surrounding area. And 7, the existing DS, OBDS, and IB3 zone districts currently permit and contain shopping centers and/or contain locations where shopping centers are planned or under construction. Some of the existing shopping centers are aging and have exhibited a trend of vacancies, demonstrating a need for diversification and modernization, and the township desires to assist in their revitalization and preventing further decline. And 7, the intent and purpose of Ordinance 28-2016 is to appropriately regulate gasoline service stations and automotive service establishments as an integral part of larger-scale retail commercial development, and thereby to promote development opportunities for shopping centers and other larger-scale development which are permitted uses in the DS, OBDS, and IB3 zone districts. And be it further resolved that the Township Committee directs that the minutes of this meeting include the above referenced reasons for proceeding with the adoption of this ordinance. Now, therefore, the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover in the County of Morrison, State of New Jersey, resolves that Ordinance 28-2016, entitled, "An Ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, amending and supplementing Chapter 166 of the Code of the Township, entitled Land Use and Development Legislation, by amending the regulations governing the operation of gasoline stations and motor vehicle repair or maintenance establishments, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the November 2nd, 2016 issue of the Morris County Daily Record." Is there anyone wishing to offer this resolution?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Faramaska, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call for approval, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramaska.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before the Township Committee considers passage of ordinance number 28-2016, and again, we'll note for the record that at the last meeting, the Township Committee closed the public hearing on this ordinance. We have one amendment to the ordinance as recommended, I believe, Mr. Branchow, from the Planning Board. And the amendment is specifically in Section 2, subsection K of Section 166-150, conditional uses, requirements for specific uses in Article 21, conditional uses. And the amendment would be under Section K, motor vehicle repair or maintenance establishments. Motor vehicle repair or maintenance establishments shall be permitted as conditional use in the B, B1, DS, IB, IB3, and OBDS districts, subject to the following requirements. 1. In the DS, OBDS, and IB3 zones, the establishment shall be located within, and B, and this is the change, attached to the main building in a designed shopping center, development or other development designed and used for retail sales, retail banks, personal services, rental and leasing establishments, eating and drinking establishments, or a combination of any of the foregoing, which developments contain a minimum floor area of 75,000 square feet. In other zones, the establishment lot shall have frontage on State Highway Route 10. So once again, this is not a substantial change to the ordinance, but I believe, Mr. Blaze, Mr. Branchow, if you would confirm this is a recommendation of the planning board?
That is correct.
Okay. So with that in mind, on that change, which is not substantial, may we have a motion of the Township Committee to adopt ordinance 28-2016 with the amendment to subsection K1 under section 2 of ordinance 28-2016.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Francioli, seconded by Mr. Faramasca.
Mr. Giorgio, since there's
Yes.
an amendment, I'd just like to recommend if the committee would just open this for a public hearing, just for the record, so that we have a complete record this evening. Thank you.
Okay, so we have the motion
Motion to open,
to
yeah.
open.
Seconds.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So at this time, is there anyone present in chambers wishing to be heard concerning the amendment to ordinance number 28-2016?
Seeing none, motion to close?
Motion to close, second, and then we'll take the motion again to adopt ordinance 28-2016, including the amendment to subsection K1. Have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Faramasca.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for adoption of ordinance 28-2016. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted with the amendment. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now as we continue with the agenda, if you just give me one moment. Okay, as we proceed, ladies and gentlemen, our next ordinance for consideration of adoption is ordinance number 33-2016. This is an ordinance of the Township Committee, amending and supplementing Section 14 entitled No Stopping or Standing under Section 267-44 of Article 5 of Chapter 267 of the Code of the Township entitled Vehicles and Traffic, with the inclusion of a no stopping or standing provision for Ukraine Road. We have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the October 19th issue of the Daily Record in accordance with law. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we have a motion to convene the public hearing.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Faramasca, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone present wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 33-2016? Seeing none, hearing none, we have a motion by Mr. Capola to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Now, on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, amending and supplementing Schedule 14, entitled No Stopping or Standing, under Section 267-44 of Article 5 of Chapter 267 of the Code of the Township, entitled Vehicles and Traffic, with the inclusion of a no stopping or standing provision for Ukraine Road, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the November 2nd issue of the Morris County Daily Record. We would now have a motion on adoption.
So moved.
So moved
Second.
by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we continue. We have one ordinance for consideration on introduction. You just beg my pardon for 1 minute. Ordinance number 34-2016. authorizes the purchase of one new multi-purpose Steiner 25 horsepower diesel 440 tractor with an all-weather heated cab, 48-inch snow blower, and 72-inch mower deck, and V-plow for the Public Works, Buildings and Grounds, and Park Maintenance Department, and further appropriating the sum of $32,000 from the Township's Capital Improvement Fund in all prior years for the financing of the tractor and related equipment. And this item was discussed during the February 6, 2016 budget work session. So funds are under the capital budget. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, the ordinance would be further considered for public hearing and final passage because it is a capital ordinance on the 21st of November at 8:30 p.m. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard concerning the ordinance will be given the opportunity to be heard. The ordinance and the notice of introduction will be published in full in the November 2nd issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion on introduction?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Gallagher, seconded by Mr. Capola and Mr. Faramasca. On roll call for introduction, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced. And the consent agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we only have two resolutions for consideration. Are there any questions?
Move they be approved.
We have a motion by Mr.
Second.
Capola, seconded by Mr. Faramasca on the consent agenda. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved. Also, on raffle applications which appear on your agenda, we have raffle applications 2963, 2964, 2965, 2966, and 2967 for Del Martin Mothers Guild. Application 2968 for Whippany Park Booster Club. Raffle application 2969, Elizabeth Ann Seton Council, 6904. Raffle application 2970 and 2971, the ECLC Foundation. May we have a motion on the approval of the
So
raffle
moved.
application? So moved by Mr. Faramasca.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Faramasca.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Yeah, all but except 29, 68, and 69.
Okay, Mr. Capola is recusing himself. Okay, and he will not vote on those two applications, and Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved, and we'll note the abstentions in the record for Mr. Capola. Mr. Chairman, members of the Township Committee, that clears the agenda of the Business Administrator, Township Clerk, and I thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Gentlemen, once again, I'd like to open the floor.
So
Motion
moved.
open. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. Anyone who would like to address the Township Committee at this time can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gentlemen, Committeeman Gallagher.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah.
Just a couple quick ones. This coming Monday is Halloween, and the Hanover Township School and Park Traffic Safety Advisory Subcommittee has put out a very nice Halloween safety message for the third year in a row. It's on Facebook, it's on our website, and it's going out through the schools. And it just gives some guidelines for our families, especially our children. And one of the most nicest ones is our Hanover Township Police Department made it very clear on this message that if you get lost, if you're scared, if you can't find your parents, if you don't know what street you're on, please just call 911. Our police will be all over the place that night, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and we want to make sure that people also understand that the leaves are all coming down now. There's a lot of leaf piles on the sides of the streets. The roads are much more narrow, and it's definitely more dangerous this time of year than any other, except for the ice, because of the fact that the roads are narrow, there's big leaf piles, and unfortunately children still play in the leaf piles. So we're trying to get the message out there to please be careful, have fun, stay with groups, keep your cell phones, keep your flashlights with fresh batteries in them, and if you do get scared or lost, please call 911. The men will be there in a heartbeat. The other thing I want to say about the leaves is, once again, the DPW is out 24/7, it seems, definitely 7 days a week, all day, picking up the leaves. They're doing a great job. They're all over the place. They're constantly touring our town, taking care of this. They also did a fantastic job decorating all our buildings for Halloween. If you see any of our buildings, they're decorated beautifully. The mums are all over the place. It looks very colorful and well kept. Also, we had One Day, One School, Saturday the 15th. Was that the date, guys?
That was it.
Yes.
And I want to say that, without offending anybody, we took down, and Jim covered it well, we took down 40 hazardous trees at Salem Drive School, and 11 of which were 20 feet back into the woods that were 50 feet tall plus. So if they did fail, they would have fallen into the area where our children play. So we had a great day. The entire governing body was there working hard. We're very pleased and very proud of the way the event went. But I think we all didn't realize how hard we were going to be working. I mean, we got out of there like 3:20, and we still had to go back and finish. So it was great. Thank you again, guys, for everything you do for the program. It is our program. We joked that the firewall's gone because our whole township committee is involved in it all the time. And every time I went to talk to Bob, Bob was sweeping one of those real big brooms, and we were all busy. So thank you, guys. The only other thing I wanted to say is, we are just about to announce our dates for Menon Arena. Starting the first Friday in January, we are going to do 10 consecutive nights at Menon Arena. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. And the first Friday night, the Sheriff's Department is coming in to do photo IDs and fingerprinting free of charge to all our children. So we're going to have a great winter, and it's going to start the first Friday in January. That's it, guys. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Excellent. John?
Yeah, 2016 has been all about the roads, and I want to recognize the work of the engineering department who led it, the DPW department which supported it, as well as HSA, who all contributed to improving the infrastructure of Hanover Township, repairing a record high number of 16 roads. That's significant. Secondly, November 8th is a busy day. It's election day, so I encourage everyone to go out and vote. It's a presidential election. You have that right. Exercise your right. It's also Community Shred Day. And Community Shred Day, in conjunction with Employment Horizons and the Hanover Green Team, will be held on Tuesday, November 8th at Employment Horizons from 8 o'clock to 11 a.m. on that Tuesday morning. So I encourage you to take advantage of Free Paper Shred Day. Mayor, that concludes my remarks.
What was that date, John?
That's November the 8th, Tuesday, November
Tuesday,
the 8th.
November the 8th? Okay. Yeah, very good, on Election Day. Very good, thank you, very good. George?
Yes. First of all, under cultural arts, last night they had a concert, a night in the big city, over at Memorial Junior School. Very well attended. Obviously, majority seniors and quite a number of younger folks. The concert was absolutely fantastic. They also have another concert on Sunday, December 11th, 3 o'clock, Our Lady of Mercy, celebrating the meaning of Christmas. And also in Town Hall on November the 13th, from 3 o'clock, right here, to 4:30, we have this gentleman, Matt Paterno. He's a music director and conductor of the Hanover Wind Symphony. He's going to divulge into the mysteries of the unknown intricacies of what a composer does. In other words, what were they thinking? It's really supposed to be a really good session, and they're really looking to hopefully get as many people as possible. They're using this particular venue of this room because they believe, first of all, they've got the videos that they can use, and as well as the number of people they anticipate. The other thing I had mentioned is the Landmark Commission. They really moved forward this year with the approval from the Township Committee for the monies to support the reconstruction of a number of stones. They're in the process of repairing 17 stones, 6 bronze plaques, and 5 to 6 foot live fences, which will go along Route 10, which is going to be great because it's going to help with the snow and the salt that does cause some deterioration. They're also working on a journey through Whippany, today's Hanover Township. It's a booklet, quite a size booklet, and it's really beautiful. A lot about the history of Hanover Township.
No record.
And, they're really doing a great job, and that should be out shortly. And I would like to especially thank Mr. Giorgio and his staff, because they've been helping us out with a lot of the information. We're now going in for the grant again next year. Mr. Giorgio's office is making sure that the people are there to be, we know exactly what it is we have to do. And lastly, on November 11th, Veterans Day, there's going to be a nice program at OLM School. It's going to be put on by the kids, and I'm going to talk with the Veterans Alliance to get as many veterans there and residents as possible. It's supposed to be really nice, so I hope we have a good turnout.
Thanks, George, appreciate that. Okay, Robert?
Couple things. Saturday, masquerade at Malapartis from 2 to 4.
I'll be there.
Everybody should be there. Free candy. What else? What more appealing event could we have than free candy? A lot of our local businesses will be there, and hoping for good weather. But in the case of inclement weather, the event will be held at Memorial Junior School, same time, 2 to 4. Also Saturday, in conflict, I guess, with our masquerade, the Whippany Park High School football team will be playing on our new turf stadium. I know we've had the grand opening. Since then, high school team is 5-1, off to their best start in many, many years. Wow. And I'm sure they'd all appreciate support if you can't get to the masquerade, or maybe you go to the game for an hour and then go to the masquerade. But the field is absolutely beautiful. We had the dedication to a couple of our residents that was handled by one of our police officers, Mr. Grauer. Built a beautiful dedication for anybody in town who hasn't seen it. It is a must-see here in town. And then I also just wanted to thank Ace Gallagher for putting together another great One Day, One School. What a great event, community event, people coming out. Of course, it's combined with East Hanover. Must have been at least 100 volunteers there. Really great to see. And then last, but certainly not least, I want to thank engineering, as well as Mr. Bill Byrne, who's out in the audience, for such a great job on our road paving. I think 16 roads is incredible. Hopefully we'll have a mild winter. We won't have to do another 16 next year. But if we do, I know we have the resources in place to get it done. So thanks, guys, Jerry and Bill especially, for spearheading that effort. That's it from me.
Thanks, Mom.
Mayor,
Appreciate that.
one thing I failed to mention, November 4th, the fundraiser spaghetti dinner, a Friday night for one of our officers' wife.
Pete Herman's wife.
Oh,
Pete
yes.
Herman's wife, Jessica
Yeah.
Herman. Yeah.
Is that next Friday?
Yes.
Jessica
November
Herman.
4th.
Jessica
November
Herman's
4th.
November
spaghetti
4th.
dinner,
A week
yep.
from tomorrow.
Yeah, Jessica Herman. So if anyone
Is
is,
that,
we really look for a lot of people coming down to help and support this very worthy cause.
Yeah, that's,
I believe that's coming up.
the tickets for that, by the way, can be acquired at the door. If you don't have a ticket, you can purchase tickets at the door. Very, very worthy cause to help one of our own Hanover Township residents on that. Thank you, George. We had just a couple of quick little items. Number one, we want to wish our new neighbor Quick Check all the best. They opened up formally on Monday morning, and it was a very impressive ribbon cutting. A lot of attendance from both the county, state level, Chamber of Commerce, and certainly our Township Committee, et cetera. I think they're going to do very, very well. Wish them every success as we do the same store on the Whippany Road and Parsippany Road. Want to say, John, that's important too. John mentions, how long are they doing that?
2 weeks,
For the next 2 weeks, it's free. Is that all day?
all day.
Oh, I can go back and forth. The next 2 weeks, it's free coffee at the Quick Check. Any size, any flavor, but for the next 2 weeks. And I want to tell you also that for every sandwich you buy at the Quick Check, I think over the next 30 days,
3 days.
25 cents. 25 cents goes toward, is it the Little League or the soccer?
Both.
Both.
Both Little League and soccer. You buy a sandwich, 25 cents from Quick Check from that sandwich will go directly to Little League or soccer. So they're off to some wonderful community involvement, and we thank Dean Durling for that very, very much. We wish them the best.
They're looking to exceed the $3,000 that they got out of the whipping.
For who? Yeah?
3,000, significant.
For the vets?
$3,000 when they did that.
For the vets?
No, for the.
Little League.
the
For Little League
soccer.
Little League?
Soccer.
Yeah.
They want to exceed that.
We want to wish Pat Russamano from our health department, one of our nurses retired today. Had a little function for her. Pat, all the best. Going to another page of your life. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. You're wonderful to all the children in our schools and to our community, so we thank you for your service. A record correction, if I might. Township Committee knows how fond I am of social networks, so I bring up one point here for correction. Did learn that we had paid some $300,000 toward approving a contract for the Stony Brook Farm. I will tell you the Township Committee rejected all bids on the Stony Brook Farm, which range from $90,000 as a low to $200,000 to a high of $300,000. And we did, I understand.
You understand, okay.
Yeah. The administrator is waiting for me to correct this record. The low bidder who originally withdrew has now involved himself, so that means that we can award and will be awarding the contract to a bidder at $90,000, not $300,000 toward the mayor's farm. I might add that the Stony Brook Farm will have 140-plus gardens, which will go out to our public here in Hanover Township. And the purpose of it is to support missions of those in need of food. So products that are grown and vegetables that are grown out of this garden will be donated to various missions throughout the township, including the Interfaith Food Pantry. So just for the record. I have nothing further, gentlemen. Is that it? If that's so, I'll motion. Go ahead.
I'd like to make one comment about something Committeeman Capola said. George, what's interesting about conducting is my sister conducts an orchestra and plays in the New Jersey Symphony. My mom is a conductor, and when we used to come to Hanover Township and watch Mr. Scanelli, Mr. Echo, and my mom, they used to talk about the art of conducting. And we were wise guys that played instruments, and we thought we were pretty good. And I used to tell my mom, they don't do anything. They just stand up there and go like this. And I used to fight with my mom. And when we got older, I used to fight with my sister. And she used to talk about these great conductors. And I go, they don't really do anything. They don't play anything. But there's a real art to it. It's very difficult. That conductor knows what everybody in that orchestra is doing at all times. So it's a real interesting concept to hear it and see it from his perspective. So I never would have thought there'd be an assembly for that. So I hope people come out and see it, because it is interesting and they are very important.
Well, they point, they know where they're going. Every time
Yeah, they do. So they do something. I'll go on record as saying conductors do something.
We got a quote on that. The reversal of opinion.
Was she a conductor or a conductress?
Ooh, you know what? I'll quote him and find out.
I have to look that up.
Yeah, very good, Ron.
Ask Siri what the...
Adjourn.
Motion for adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, gentlemen, we have some other business to conclude. Thank you.
We tell them to have a reversal.
There's an official reversal up here.
Conductress, I like that.
A conductress.